Today is 2:40 in the morning on Saturday, November the 7th. I'd like to congratulate Barack Obama on his president, our President-elect Barack Obama. Something that's come to mind, and the reason I'm back online, I've got a website, or actually a MySpace account, and it's Child Protection Community. Please look it up and sign on. I would love to have some people get on there and tell me what you think. What's going on is that I had worked in the security industry for ADT for about 8 years off and on through some authorized dealer. And doing that to sell alarms, one of the highlights, or one of the easier sales we could make, is if there was a convicted sex offender in the area. Some of you are familiar with the Drew Sloden National website, where you can find out who's in your neighborhood by your zip code or city, state, which, you know, all 50 states and districts, what have you. The reason I'm coming out with this is because I want, number one, to raise awareness. I know there are some issues out there, but they don't have me involved, and not that I'm all that, but I am good at what I do. You can find the MySpace that I've set up is Child Protection Community. It's going to be myspace.com/Child Protection Community. If you would go to that site and log on, tell me what you think. I'd like to hear back some feedback. Another person I'd like to promote is Chris Gatman. I've been getting a lot of emails from him, and I do appreciate his efforts as far as the educational resources I've gotten. I've used a lot of that. Chris, if you're listening, thank you. I don't know exactly, I haven't put all the pieces together, but this was part of it, using one website to promote the other. My heart of the matter is this: every 4 seconds there's a child molested in the U.S. The state of California had some stats come out, and those stated that around 62%, 64% of convicted sex offenders go back to prison within the first year. The second thing that happens is that within the second year, about 80%, 77.9% return back to prison. What goes out is a typical sex offender notification. We're all aware of that. If you've gotten one, you're very well aware of it. The problem therein lies that the families that get those in those neighborhoods, they turn around, and if they financially are able to, of course, any parent is going to move their family away from this person, particularly if you're next door. You don't want this guy with a camera taking pictures of your kids, putting them on the net or something like that. Well, if we're going to release these guys, we need to get those numbers down. That 80% is too high. Those families that get that notice, they tend to want to move out, puts new houses back on the market. I had a car wreck. I bit my tongue and about broke my jaw, so excuse me if you're having trouble understanding me. The reason that the families move out is obvious. They don't want to be living next door to these people. Those houses that become vacant are then moved into by potentially new families, and there's no second notice that goes out. The problem I have with that is simply this: what happens to those kids and those families when they don't know any of the neighbors, they don't know the neighborhood, and the sex offender's not going to come over there and go, "Oh, hi, my name's so-and-so, I just got out for 15 years for molesting a 3-year-old. The problem with that is, simply put, if we're going to put these guys out, technology is available. Why are we not putting a GPS system on these guys, an ankle bracelet, an arm bracelet, making it a condition of their parole? If they don't want it, they don't have to. They don't have to do the big brother tracking thing, that's fine, but they don't have to get out of prison. They can stay in there. So Alabama state law says that if they're a threat, deemed a definite threat to society, they can keep them locked up indefinite after their release. Those would be for the hardcore cases, I understand. But even still, the light cases have a repeat rate as well. With this GPS, it does a couple of things. The first thing it does is, in the event that there's a child missing, or one comes up and they can't locate it, and it's in the vicinity of, some sex offenders, it allows law enforcement to 24/7 access that GPS system and find out where those guys are at. Couple of things this does: they can't take the whole police force for one child, take them off the streets and go tracking this kid down and chasing sex offenders, trying to find out who's got the kid. What they could do is one officer, maybe two, could go through a list of that GPS for those guys in that zip code, up to that county, and then up to that central area, which is, maybe 3 or 4 counties, up to the state, and then up to the local states. What this allows them to do is narrow down the possibilities. Who was in the vicinity where the child was reported missing? This does a couple of things. It narrows down the list of suspects. It provides alibis that the other offenders that were innocent don't get hassled by the police unnecessarily. The other thing this does is it locates the child potentially a lot quicker. We have the technology to do this. We also have the technology to send out a secondary notice, and why we're not doing that to this day, I still don't know. I don't personally have any family members or friends of mine that have had a child come up missing. but because of a lack of this system or any other reason. But I sit on YouTube and I watch the news, and just like the rest of you out there, it's a sick, sick world. The rock bottom truth on this one is simply put this: as a society, if we're not going to keep these guys incarcerated, then we have an obligation to our children and our future to help keep an eye on these people, to babysit them. They're our responsibility, not the kids, and we're failing our children when we refuse to keep an eye on these predators. We're allowing them, knowing the statistics, and maybe you didn't know it because until I looked it up I didn't, but now you're responsible. To whom much is given, much is required. Now you know the same as I do, and what are you going to do about it? Write your congressman, write your governor, write your local municipality, ask your police officers, find out who's in your neighborhood. That website is www.nsopr.com. Sorry, I don't have it right here in front of me. I'll come back and correct that. But you can go to my MySpace page. There's a link on there, or the website's on there. You can actually link it from MySpace. But please go on there, find out who's in your neighborhood, protect your kids. You're talking about 8 out of 10 of these guys will be back in prison within 2 years. Now that's according to the State Department, California's Department of Corrections. Well, I don't think the state of California has any different sex offenders than Texas, New York, London, Belgium, Germany, Eurasia, or even right here in small little Alabama. I think they're all the same. They have a problem. I don't want to excuse them. There's some psychological issues. I'm not a psychologist, so I don't know how to, I'm not even going to attempt that. You know what, there's a problem, and I've got kids. I've got 3 daughters and a son, and God help them, it'd be better for the police to find them before I did, or one of my family members. I just can't see letting these people out with the statistics the way they are without some type of babysitting or some type of tracking to where we can narrow down the list when a child comes up missing. I'm sick of hearing about kids getting hurt on the news by these predators that go out and they want to molest these little kids and act like it's no big deal, or try to hide it by killing the kid and then burying them. Or you got mothers out here that are abusive to their children, or fathers. I'm sick of it. Report it if you see it. Don't let it go on. It is your business. We're a community. I think what happens in a home stays in a home until it crosses the line and the innocent are getting hurt. And these kids are innocent. They didn't ask for this. They didn't do it. Kelly Briggs is a good example of this. Her father's in the military. I watched that video and I want to tell you, it broke my heart. He's sitting over there protecting us and our kids. And whether you agree on the war or not, you can agree on one thing. If you're away protecting your country or serving your country, and your daughter's left here, and your ex-wife marries somebody, and she allows that SOB to come in and kick, hit, break the girl's legs, break her collarbone, then kicked her in the stomach or hit her with a blunt force trauma enough to kill her. That young man come home from protecting me, you, and our families to bury his only child. And that ain't right. Who protected his children while he was protecting ours? That's a rock bottom truth. Let me know what you think.